everyone. So last week I asked you guys what brand you wanted to see next. I got an overwhelming amount of people saying Zoya. I would say probably a little bit more than half of everyone that commented said Zoya, and then after that was China Glaze. So I will do Zoya as my next brand to swatch, and then I will do China Glaze. Before I get into this week's swatches, I also have to say that I totally forgot that I have liquid sand polishes from OPI and some like textural things like shatter top coats. And so I am going to do the liquid sand polishes with my Zoya sparkle polishes, pixie dust polishes, because I'm gonna sort of categorically do those together. I'm thinking when I get to hollows, for example, I'm just going to do all of my hollows together versus doing those by brand, because I personally organize all of my hollows together, and that is the same thing that I do with my liquid sand polishes. They're all in one drawer with my Zoya pixie dust colors, and so the pixie dust and the liquid sands will be done after I swatch all of my Zoya colors. And then a couple of you guys have been asking if I'm going to do a video for comparisons. I will be showing you guys the bottles and comparing from there instead of swatching them, because I would have already swatched every single one of my polishes at that point. I am going to do the comparisons at the very, very end of this series. So after I'm done, probably after I'm done with all the mainstream brands, I will do comparisons of all the mainstreams that I want to compare and destash from there. And then I will move on to like indies or whatever brand comes after the mainstream stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this series. Again, this is the last OPI video. I have 11 polishes for you guys today. This first polish is called Make Love, and it is a light pink color. It's very similar to some other light pinks that I have in my collection, especially from like Essie. This is I would say sort of like a pig color. You know how like baby pigs are all that sort of light pink creamy color, but they do have a little bit of warmth running through them? It's that sort of color. It is a cream finish. It does go on fairly light. You can see that it's not really opaque at all in one coat, but it does give, you know, a little bit of a sheer coat. So if you're somebody that does sheer nail polish manicures, then this might be a color that you like. But that's the first coat of Make Love. I'm going in with the second coat now, and you can see that it adds a little bit of opacity. It does make it a little bit more of sort of a pastel feel, but it's not quite a pastel like Mod About You was. It's not fully opaque yet, so I am going to have to do 3 coats of Make Love. I'm going to go in now with the third coat of Make Love, and you can see that it does get pretty much fully opaque in 3 coats. It does make it a little bit more pink. Again, sort of that like piglet pink color, and it goes on pretty smooth. It doesn't catch on itself, or it doesn't clump up or anything. So yeah, this is 3 coats of Make Love. So this polish I am going to destash. This polish I actually bought a really long time ago. This was in one of my original OPI hauls from e-tailers, and I had purchased it because, again, I saw it on a blog or something and I thought it was really pretty. But since starting to collect nail polish, I have purchased so many that just polishes like this sort of fall through the cracks. As pretty as it is, and as much as I do kind of like it on my skin tone, I don't wear it, and so this is going to get destashed. This polish is called I Theodora You. This was from the Wizard of Oz collection, which was a soft, I think it was technically a soft shades collection, but it came with like 3 soft shades, which I have all 3 to show you in this video, and then it came with a glitter and then 3 of the liquid sands. It was, I think, the first collection that OPI released liquid sands in, or maybe Mariah Carey was. But anyway, this is a very, very sheer pink toned nude color. It has a slight pink to it, so it looks a little bit like sort of peachy, but still nude on the nail. It's very sheer. You can see in the first coat, it barely looks like anything, so I'm going to have to do multiple coats of this. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of I Theodora You, and this brings a little bit more color to the nail. You can see it gets that sort of fresh looking baby pink, slightly peachy tone to it, but it's still not opaque. And yeah, that is 2 coats of I Theodora You. I'm going to go in now with the third coat of I Theodora You, and this is the last coat I am going to do. I feel like these polishes, again, like these sheer toned polishes never really get fully opaque, but they're meant to look very simple on the nail and just very clean on the nail because these are sort of more of those professional or bridal colors. So it does add a little bit more evenness to the color, but again, it's not like fully opaque. You can definitely see my nail through there. So that is 3 coats of I Theodora You. So this one I think I am going to destash as well, as again, I do like it. I do like the way it looks on my nails. I have a lot of colors like this though. Like I did show you guys Pink of Hearts 2 last week, and it's really similar to that on the nail, and I have some from Essie as well that I just feel like look too similar to this, so this one is going to get destashed. This color is called Princesses Rule, and this is definitely the most like princessy color that I own. This is a really light cotton candy pink with a really, really twinkly, like pearly white shimmer running through it. This, I can tell you right now I'm not going to keep this, but this is going to go to one of the girls that I nanny, but I'll swatch it for you guys anyway. This is very sheer on the first coat and very sparkly and just that really girly, like, I feel like some nurseries have this sort of feel to them, like baby girl nurseries or rooms for expecting moms sometimes go super girly and like the ballerina route. I feel like this is that polish that you would like put on the shelf as like a little decorative piece. It's one of those colors that are just, it is definitely the most appropriately named polish, I think. But yeah, it's very, very sheer in the first coat. You can see how much shimmer is packed into this polish. So yeah, that is the first coat of Princesses Rule. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Princesses Rule. This was also a polish that I purchased very, very early on when I started collecting. Again, it was either like a scrangy find or an all lacquered up sort of find, but yeah, it's super, super girly, and I haven't worn it all that much since I purchased it, but it was just one of those polishes you see in a swatch and you're like, that's so pretty, and then you put it on yourself and you're like, it's not as pretty, but I like the way it looks on the shelf, so I'm going to keep it. So yeah, that's 2 coats of Princesses Rule. Again, I'm definitely not keeping this polish, but I am going to give it to one of the little girls that I babysit because they're super in love with the color pink, and this is something that they would really love. So yeah, that is Princesses Rule. This polish is called Who Needs a Prince. As you can see, this has a really beautiful bright red shimmer through it, and it kind of makes it look like a pink on the nail. It is definitely a nude base, and that red shimmer sort of mix into the nude to make it look pinky on the nail. This is another sheer polish. This is a polish that I, again, saw on Scrangy. For some reason, I saw a lot of pinks on Scrangy, and I was like, I need to find the perfect pink, and then ended up with all these different like nudes and pink tones. But yeah, it is a very, very sheer color to begin with, but you can see the shimmer pretty well in that first coat. I am going to have to do multiple coats of this to get it opaque. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Who Needs a Prince, and this gives a little bit more of color to the base, so you can see that nude tone come out a little bit more, and the shimmer gets a little bit more apparent. I will do 3 coats of this because this one does get a little bit more opaque than the other sheer tones that I have, but I don't know if I'm going to do 3 coats for all of them. But yeah, that is 2 coats of Who Needs a Prince. I'm going to go now with the third coat of Who Needs a Prince, and this again adds a little bit more opacity to the base, and the shimmer comes out a little bit better. And yeah, that is 3 coats. It does make the color a little bit more even on the nail, and it makes your nail look a little bit more perfected in that sort of sheer tone way, but that shimmer comes out much stronger with the third coat. So this polish I am going to destash. Again, it's another one that I just don't wear. What happened when I first started collecting polish was, now that I think about it, I kind of vividly remember going through Scrangy's OPI like tag on her blog and looking through every single OPI color that she had swatched and bookmarking all of the ones that I wanted. And I then ended up with like so many of these sheer tone colors that I just don't wear as often as I should. So this is one of them. It's super pretty and it's so unique, but I just don't wear it. So this is going to get destashed. This polish is called Ce-less-tial Is More, and this was from the Starlight collection that I feel like I de-stashed that whole collection, but this is a really, really subtle champagne tone in a glitter form, so it's not really subtle nail polish, but it has a little bit, like a slight pinkiness to it, and it's a very, very chunky formula. It's like a really dense glitter, and there's a bunch of hollow micro glitter running through it. Now this polish I haven't thinned out since having it in my stash. It's definitely needed a little bit of thinner though. And you can see that it's a very chunky nail polish. It goes on pretty opaque, I have to say. You could almost get away with doing one coat if you did a slightly thicker coat. But yeah, that's the first coat of Ce-less-tial Is More. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Ce-less-tial Is More, and this is definitely going to be enough for it to be fully opaque. I like the way that the glitter layers on this. It is actually thick enough to, for me, be considered on par with like the Pixie Dust or Liquid Sand formula. Like, it's so densely packed with glitter, and it has that sort of texture to it that it's very similar on the nail, but this is a little bit harder to remove. And it's got that hollow glitter in it that just makes it super, super sparkly. So that is 2 coats of Ce-less-tial Is More. So this polish I am going to de-stash. It's not something that I wear enough to keep around, so yeah, that is going in the de-stash pile. This polish is called Glints of Glinda, and this is also from the Wizard of Oz collection. This was the most nude of the 3 sheer tones that came from the collection. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. And again, this has the most sort of a brown tone to it. It's super sheer on that first coat. It, again, just makes your nails look shiny and healthy looking versus adding any sort of color. So that's the first coat of Glints of Glinda. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Glints of Glinda. And this adds a little bit of color, but again, it's very sheer and nude looking. So again, it's one of those polishes that looks like it makes your nails look very perfected, and it just evens out the color on your natural nail and is a good like professional or bridal sort of color. So that's 2 coats of Glints of Glinda. I'm going to go in now with the third coat of Glints of Glinda. This is going to be the last coat that I apply, and it does add a little bit more color. It makes your nails look a little bit like they have a gel manicure, because it does add quite a bit of volume to the nail. Like it looks like you have polish on your nails, if you guys are getting like what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, I'm so scatterbrained right now. Anyway, it adds a little bit of color. It makes your nails look perfected. It evens out the color. It adds an obvious sort of manicure-like look to the nail. So that is 3 coats of Glints of Glinda. So this polish I am going to de-stash. It's another polish that I just feel like it's not unique enough for me to keep it, and I don't wear it enough. And although it is kind of an interesting beige tone of sheer tone, I just don't really reach for it very often. So that is Glints of Glinda. This polish is called Sweet Heart, and this one I particularly purchased because Elle and Blair basically said this was like their go-to nude, and I was for a while, like a couple years ago, just searching for that perfect neutral sheer bridal color, ignoring the fact that I had a million of those already, as I've already shown you in this video. This is definitely a bridal off-white color, but it has a tiny bit of pink in it. It has like one tiny drop of neutral beige to it, but it definitely leans a little bit more on the pink side. So yeah, that is 1 coat of Sweet Heart. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Sweet Heart, and this adds a lot of opacity actually. It goes from like really sheer to like fairly opaque in 2 coats. It adds just that really delicate, soft, off-white sort of pink tone to it, like I was trying to describe earlier. And yeah, it's a really pretty color. Again, it's a really great bridal color. It's a really good office color. I am going to have to do 3 coats because I did thinner coats like I normally do, and it is a little bit sheer still. So yeah, that is 2 coats of Sweet Heart. I'm going to go in now with the third coat of Sweet Heart, and this gets the polish fully opaque, and it evens out the polish as well. What I like about this polish is that it's not like a streaky or finicky color like a lot of sheer colors can be when you layer it up with 3 coats. So yeah, that is 3 coats of Sweetheart. So this is going to be a keep to compare polish. I just want to make sure that I am saving the one color like this that I like the most. Formula wise, I have a couple from Essie that look very similar to this. I think I have one from Zoya and one from Julep as well. So there are going to be quite a few of these that at the end of this series I am going to compare and just make sure that I keep the formula and the polish that I like the most. This polish is called Don't Burst My Bubble. This was my favorite of the sheer tones from the Wizard of Oz collection. This is the 3rd of those polishes that I was telling you guys about. This is, again, a very, very neutral sheer color. It doesn't have very much pink in it. I would say it has maybe just like a half a drop of pink in it. It's mostly a light sort of ivory off-white color, and at the first coat you can see it's very, very sheer, and it adds just a little bit of like a white or sort of sheer light tint to your nails. So that's the first coat of Don't Burst My Bubble. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Don't Burst My Bubble, and this adds quite a bit of color to it. I'm not going to do 3 coats of this because it's not going to get fully opaque, but you can see a good representation of the color in 2 coats, so I'm just going to keep this as a 2-coat swatch. This is actually my favorite of the 3 again, like I said, and I actually do wear this quite a bit, so I'm quite familiar with how easily this polish applies and just how nice it makes your nails look, or at least my nails look. So yeah, that's 2 coats of Don't Burst My Bubble. This polish I am going to keep. It's one of my favorite palette cleanser polishes to wear. It's very easy for me to put on. I think it looks really nice on my skin tone, and it's one of my favorite neutrals. I will compare it to some of the Essies that I'm going to show you guys when I do swatch Essies, just to make sure that I don't keep it unnecessarily, but as of right now I am going to keep it. This polish is called At First Sight, and this is a neutral with a really, really soft gold shimmer running through it, like you can see in the bottle right there. This is another very early purchase for me. I'll be honest, I haven't worn it very much either. Again, this was part of that sort of scrangy polish blog bookmarking spree that I went on, and I decided to purchase it. It is a very pretty color. It's one of those colors that with that shimmer makes it a little bit more unique than your standard neutral colors, but yeah, that's the first coat of At First Sight. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of At First Sight, and this is going to add quite a bit more color to the nail. The gold shimmer comes out a little bit better. Again, I'm only going to do 2 coats of this because it is a pretty decent representation of what the color looks like on the nail. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a ton of things to say about this polish because it's pretty self-explanatory. You can see it goes on pretty easily. It's just another neutral bridal sort of color. So this polish I am going to destash. Again, I don't wear it very often. It is very pretty, but I have a couple of people I know this would be very nice on and would go to a great home to. So yeah, this is going to get destashed. This polish is called My Vampire is Buff. I don't remember if this was in the Holland collection or if this was in the Eurocentral collection, but it is a more recent color. This is definitely a very light beigey color, like it's kind of like the color of like carpet. Like it's not white, it's off-white, but it has that slight warmth to it. It has a cream formula. It's actually fairly opaque. I purchased this mostly for nail art, inspired by Mr. Candy Pants, who she doesn't do nail art very much anymore, but she has her own like art stuff that she does. So it's definitely got like a very specific reason to be in my collection. But yeah, otherwise I do really like wearing it because it's a really interesting off-white color. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of My Vampire is Buff, and this gets the polish fully opaque. It's such an easy color to work with, especially for being such a light color, and it's definitely very unique in the sense that for being an off-white, it's got kind of a weird tone to it. Again, it looks like carpet, but yeah, that is 2 coats of My Vampire is Buff. So this polish I am also going to keep. Again, it's a nice palette cleanser and it's off-white and it's really pretty and delicate and feminine, but it's also very unique because of that sort of off tone to it. So this is my Vampire is Buff, and I'm going to keep it in my stash. This last polish I have to show you, and the last polish in my OPI Swatch My Stash series, aside from the Liquid Sands, is Tickle My Francey. This was actually the very first OPI nail polish that I ever purchased, so it's kind of fun that it's the last polish that I have to show you guys today. And this polish I saw on Scrangy and it was part of the France collection, and I was so in love with the France collection that I wrote down a list of pretty much every single color from that collection and went searching for OPI. When I first started collecting, I didn't know where you could purchase OPI, especially in person, so I found a local beauty supply store in my area and saw that they had OPI and remembered Tickle My Francey was a color from the collection that I wanted the most, and therefore it came with me and it came home with me, and it was my very first OPI. This is a gray toned light taupe color. It kind of looks like foie gras. And yeah, in first coat, it's definitely very sheer, but it does add that sort of gray tint to your nails. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Tickle My Francey, and I feel like my bottle is definitely more on the original formula of Tickle My Francey. I feel like Tickle My Francey got a little bit reformulated over the years to be a little bit more pink. Mine is definitely like a beige though. It's definitely very nude and not very much like a mauvey pink. So that's 2 coats of Tickle My Francey. It's got a really beautiful formula. It dries super shiny. It goes on like butter and is opaque in 2 coats, and it's just gorgeous. This polish I am going to keep. It's one of my favorites. It's my first OPI, so I do have a nostalgic reason to keep it, but it's also just such a gorgeous color and so neutral, and one of my favorite nudes to wear. So that is this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you guys are excited that OPI is done, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next week with Zoya.